everyone listening from our service from home. We are the Unitarian Fellowship of Lake Norman, and we're an open and inclusive congregation. Our members walk diverse paths to find meaning in life, and we are united by our belief in the inherent worth and dignity of all. My name is Pamela Engelbert, and I have been an active member of this congregation since February of this year and attended since 2024. Our excellent music is provided today by Teresa Woody on piano. Our guest speaker today is Jane Pope. Jane has been a member here since August of 2024. She's a retired newspaper editor who plays with her grandkids, plucks her Celtic harp, reads, provides a lap for cats, what a great job, and has been known to overshare when discussing spiritual matters, which I'm not sure that's possible, but she thinks maybe. Jane will speak today about peace in violent times. We start our services by lighting a candle inside a chalice and speaking words that call us to that occasion. Please join me in saying today's chalice lighting words in your order of service program. We light
this flaming chalice to illuminate the world we seek. In our search for truth, may we be blessed. In our search for justice, may we be loving. And in loving, may we find peace.
Well, rats.
There you go.
Jane, do you have some opening words for us?
Our opening words come from the Reverend Meredith Garman, a retired Unitarian minister. What we call acts of violence are merely the manifestation of a heart that hates. Nonviolence, then, is not merely refraining from shooting, stabbing, clubbing, kicking, or hitting others, as important a step as that is. Nonviolence is a heart committed to softening instead of hardening. Nonviolence is a heart that loves, that respects, that reveres life, that connects and wants to connect. And we are violent to each other, whether we ever raise a hand or raise our voice to each other, whenever we fail to respond to each other out of reverence for the wonder of the life that is before us.
Teresa will serenade us into some contemplation.
Good afternoon. Now, those of of you who carefully read the newsletter, and I know you all do, might notice that my topic was going to be shame. That soul-deadening conviction that you didn't just make a mistake, you are the mistake. But you'll have to wait for that discussion. Instead, I feel I must address the difficult topic that has ruled the news this past week: violence, particularly political violence. The assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk joins a slew of other violent acts committed in the name of politics this year, including the murders of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman, her husband, and even their dog. The deadly attack on the headquarters of the CDC, and the arson of Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's residence. Conviction is increasingly a blood sport. Now, we are a nation born in violence, not just the Revolutionary War that separated us from British rule, but the brutal conquering of native tribes and the unspeakable horror of slavery. But something feels different now. Do you sense it too? Mm-hmm. Rhetoric isn't just heated, it's at the boiling point. Yes, we still hear calls for de-escalation and unity, but those calls are being drowned out by loud accusations and threats of retaliation. This is a dangerous time to speak out. This is a fragile moment for our nation. I'm old enough to remember the political violence of the 1960s, the assassinations of John Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and Martin Luther King, the shooting of George Wallace, riots in the streets. Like now, it was a volatile time. Fire crept along society's fuse toward the cache of dynamite. You've seen that in movies, right? But we managed to step on the burning fuse in time. Disagreements continued, but without a society-destroying explosion. Are we willing and able to put out that fuse now? Let's be clear, I disagreed vehemently with Charlie Kirk. He said a lot of truly reprehensible things, but he didn't deserve to be killed. Surely we can agree on this, but do we? The Washington Post cited a poll published in February by Bright Line Watch, a group of political scientists tracking democratic norms. The poll found that only 2% of Democrats and 3% of Republicans support violence against opposition party leaders in general. Still too much, but it's a small number. But that rises to 10% for opposition leaders who enact, quote, harmful or exploitative policies. That means that nearly 1 in 10 respondents on both sides were willing to tell pollsters they favor potential violence against the opposition. I find that chilling. Speaking of chilling, and what may seem a totally different matter, last night I was violently attacked, and it sent me to the emergency room. It was definitely not a case of political violence. A raccoon who has peacefully poached cat food off of my back porch for quite a while without any kind of incident with either me or my cats, suddenly attacked one of my cats. I went out to see what was going on, and then it attacked my bare foot when I stepped outside before running to the woods. At my son's insistence, I went straight to the ER and, just in case, started a series of shots that will keep me from contracting rabies. He also called animal control and took the cat to the emergency vet for a booster shot. The reason I bring this up is because it got me thinking, there in the ER, waiting, about how it relates or doesn't to our current political situation. In my case, the violence was sudden and startling. Sounds familiar? It had the potential for wider, fatal consequences. But it didn't overwhelm me because I knew what to do. There was something to do. There were concrete steps to take that I knew would keep me safe. We desperately need steps that can restore and keep safe our nation. A vaccine to political violence doesn't exist, unfortunately. And if there was, some people would probably refuse to take it. So what can we do? I think we desperately need a new commitment to peace. Peace between nations, peace between political factions, peace in our families, peace in the quiet depths of our own hearts. That is the vaccine to violence. But how can we find inner peace and create outer peace in violent times? Back last July, after the apparent assassination attempt on President Trump, the Unitarian Universalist Association issued a statement that remains pertinent today. After condemning the attack, it offered this sage advice. As we prepare to meet this moment, we must return to our spiritual grounding and faithful practice. Take a breath, reflect together, wait for emerging truth over quick speculation. Anchor yourself in communities and relationships that foster resilience, liberation, and strategy. Cultivate nuance and seek out deep wisdom, political analysis, and spiritual grounding, as misinformation will be rampant. Boy, isn't that still the case. I went on to say our Unitarian Universalist tradition is rooted in the values of human dignity, justice, compassion, and democratic principles. We will remain vigilant in our commitment to protecting our democracy and the integrity of its principles and the rights of all its people. Let us keep love at the center. We are in this together. When violence rises, we must reject the easy response of retaliation. We must remember always that an eye for an eye inevitably leads everyone blind. Instead, let's recommit to the fundamental principles of nonviolence. First, we can resist evil without resorting to violence. Nonviolence doesn't mean making excuses for oppression or yielding to it. Resist, 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 but peacefully. Shine the light on injustice, but do not commit injustice. The end never justifies the means. Second, we should seek to win the friendship and understanding of opponents, not humiliate them, not mock them. Give them the space to change their minds. Treat everyone with respect and listen to the ideas you disagree with. Years ago, I used to listen to a very fundamentalist Christian radio show, not because I agreed with it, but because I disagreed with it. And I wanted to see if I could honestly, in my mind, dispute what they were saying. And I could. It taught me a lot. It also taught me to respect where they were coming from. Martin Luther King said that what he called the internal violence of spirit is just as bad as external violence. He said the nonviolent resistor not only refuses to shoot his opponent, he also refuses to hate him. Third, oppose evil itself, not the people committing evil acts. Avoid demonizing your political opponents, attack unjust acts, but not broad groups of people or even the individuals who are carrying out these acts. When my young son misbehaved, I consciously tried to never say, "You're bad." Instead, I told him, "You are doing a bad thing, and that is not who you are." Let us remind Americans who we are when we are at our best. But perhaps the hardest part of bringing peace to a violent society is nurturing that peace in your own heart, keeping a deep faith in a future that eventually swings to justice. We're playing the long game here. What I found helps: turning off the news when it's too much to take. That's hard to do for a former journalist. Spending time in meditative silence, sitting in sunlight, walking in the woods while avoiding aggressive raccoons, talking with friends about our hopes for the future, being here in this room with people willing to change the world without taking up arms. I realize that I'm not dealing here with some difficult issues. What do you do when you are the people being demonized? How can you best stand up for the oppressed without putting a big target on your chest? It's your time to offer your opinion on what I've said or didn't say in our talkback session, which begins now. Take your best shot. Not literally. I don't bite.
If you would like to stand where you are, I can bring you a mic, or you're welcome to come up front. Either way, you'll be heard.
It's better if we come up front for the camera.
Oh, for the they want you on campus.
Jane, thank you. Your closing comments were ways to disengage, basically, and remain whole or gain wholeness. My difficulty with that is that it feels like I'm copping out, and I'm awkward with that because that's not my normal way of approaching things. Linda and I just started to volunteer at Feed and See, a way to re-engage, a way to do something good. Can you address the juxtaposition that I'm feeling and maybe offer me and others some solutions?
Well, you are absolutely right. There does need to be a balance between disengaging and engaging with the world. I have a bad tendency to disengage to the point where I'm really nurturing my inner spirit, but not necessarily doing anything to make the world a better place. I'm working against that now. I think anything you can do, like Feed and See, to make the world a little kinder place, a little more just place, to reach out to people, I think that's a very good thing to do. And I think it is a temptation, and not a good one, to totally retreat into yourself. We're not about just protecting ourselves. We're about making things better for the world. Thank you.
One of the things that I found very disheartening this past week was the response of the president. I had a mentor who always said success and what happens in life starts at the very top, our leaders. And his response was to demonize, liberal people and liberal values, and despite what's happened on both sides. And I think, so many people look up to our leaders, whether they're in Congress or our clergy, whatever. And I think I found that very disheartening. In the past, whether it was a national calamity or whatever, a serious issue, the president would usually try to unify the country and bring us together. And so that's very disheartening to me.
Me too. And there have been some leaders who have spoken up. Governor Cox, I believe it was, said, "We are a broken nation. We need to get past this and heal." And he's a Republican.
Yes.
So that gives me hope. But yeah, the response has been very disappointing. Pointing fingers even before we know the absolute truth of the matter.
Well, I look at it from the standpoint that, like when that raccoon attacked your foot and attacked your cat, something was happening in that raccoon's life. It's been going out there, eating food for all this time, and this time, something's happening. The raccoon initiated the violence, and your reaction to it was, okay, you have to stop this because it's going to. And I feel that our democracy is under attack. I think we, as Americans, I think that Donald Trump has pointed out quite clearly, all liberals, all Democrats, anybody that thinks what he's doing is not right is an enemy and needs to be attacked. So how do we stay nonviolent? And I'm all about nonviolence, but we are under attack, and finding a way to be resistant is a strong exercise that we have to endure, but it is what we need to do, and because we are under attack. And also the idea that we've become violent, this division and this violence, this escalation of violence on both sides. I don't see that. I think that when we talk about it that way, that it's on both sides, I think we really do ourselves a disservice. When we look at over the past year, 2 years, 3 years, all of the violence, all of the violent attacks have come from one side. And I think that that's been pointed out very clearly. Even this situation with Charlie Kirk, the shooter, was a Republican. And he was upset, so far from what we've heard, that Charlie Kirk just wasn't strong enough, wasn't arguing violently enough. And that's where that came from. But, the idea that it's both sides, I think really does us all a disservice.
There is a way to get back and it's called the ballot box. Remember these things. Remember what the leader says. Is this somebody mending fences or putting extra spikes in the ground? When Sandy and Tracy send out the postcards to encourage people to vote, take an extra 25 home and send them out. We can do it. And yeah, I think he could maybe shift blame in one direction, maybe more so than the other, but there's no real innocence here. And if somebody's saying some of these things that you know and would be technically maybe on your side, and they're wrong, tell them they're wrong. I mean, that's somebody from that same group pointing out that that's not the right way to think is a powerful message. And so we can police our own, and we can be constructive members of a representative democracy. It's work to be done. Ballots are coming up. A year from now, we'll be right in the middle of incredibly important elections. Get involved, get other people involved. And talk about somebody who was running a major newspaper, how important the media is. So thanks for bringing this up.
Thanks. And I did read a comment, I think it was on a story in the Washington Post, where someone was saying that all the leftist media and all the leftist people and all this, listing a bunch of groups. I noticed the media right away, of course. So they should all be sent to internment camps. That's not my idea of the future of America.
I'm Jim. Couple of things. I don't know if this says something good or bad, but I had never even heard of Charlie Kirk. And I was sort of glad I hadn't heard of him. But I don't think he deserved to be shot, no matter what he did or said. But apparently he had said some pretty reprehensible things. But again, he didn't need to be shot for that. Some good news, I think. You know, we built dog fences in Lincoln County, and at the height of the political season, there were Trump signs everywhere. And I've mentioned several times we built dog fences in homes that had Trump flags, Trump signs in the yard. And we would always just remind ourselves it's about the dogs. Don't engage, just go ahead on. So we set a good example. But the good news is you rarely see those flags or those signs anymore. We're still operating in the same areas with so few Trump signs. I think the word's getting out. I do think, too, it's important that we not let these people live rent-free in our heads. You know, we can just stew and we can worry and moan and carry on, but it's not going to change anything. As Jim said, we do have to vote. There are other things we can do. We can build dog fences. We say we're making the world better one dog at a time. And that goes on. We'll build next week. Invite us to come along, help make the world better one dog at a time. You can pick up trash by the highway with Jim. That's a good way. You can go to Feed and See and wash dishes. That's making the world better, helping some homeless people. So let's don't give in. Let's don't get in the gutter with them. There's an old saying, the more you stir poop, the more it stinks. Well, I was in Vietnam, but everybody did that sooner or later. Anyway, I probably shouldn't have said that. Bad boy. Okay, let's.
Bad boy, that was a bad thing.
Let's remember our principles. If we live the Unitarian principles, the first and the last, we respect the worth and dignity of all people. We believe we're part of the interconnected web of all existence. That's who we are, and that's who we need to be. It was a very good presentation. Thank you. Although I was looking forward to hearing about Shane, but
Oh, I got things to say about Shay.
another time.
just one quick optimistic observation. When we were at the rally, Greg over there engaged with a man who was on the other political side. And they engaged very respectfully, both of them. And Greg and the other man were actually listening to each other. And I think, Jim, what you said is true. Some people are rethinking their political affiliations. So if we talk to them rationally, respectfully, it will help rather than demonize them. Let's be optimistic.
I always trip. Sorry. I would hate to go to a church that didn't address this today. So Jane, I thank you so much for bringing it up and so openly. And I think we do so many things which state good for the world to see, whether it's feed and see, we're doing something. If we attend one of the rallies that Veronique is good to let us know about, these things are good. If we make a homemade sign, it can be important. People pass and honk and are so receptive. So many people are. It's encouraging when you show up. But showing up is important, and I think it's especially important to talk about these things. So thank you again, Jane.
Thanks.
I'm pretty naive. I'm pretty much of a Pollyanna, but I think what I'm hearing a lot is sides. And can we deal as individuals? Can we deal with the people who maybe don't believe the same as we do, instead of seeing them as one force and assuming that they all believe exactly the same way? Can we listen enough to deal with people as individuals? I don't believe everything that, my side, believes, and I hate the fact that politically at this point, we seem to be in two camps and we can't find any congressman who will vote their conscience rather than their, party. So I think it's important. I heard someone recently talk about, as a minister, you might say you were a minister and you would either get somebody saying, oh, wow, from, that's great if they were from the Christian side and saying, that's wonderful. Or somebody who was a Christian nationalist who would say, the dogma, and I don't want to hear that. And I'm thinking, where's the side where you just say what I believe or engage that way without being the side?
Thanks, sir.
I just want to say one thing. I believe that everything is energy. And I believe that there's nothing more powerful than a person who's in touch with their energy and awareness. It's remarkable to me how people can be changed simply by a presence, without a word spoken, without even looking at each other. When you are out in the world, grounded in who you are and knowing that you want the best for everyone, for yourself, for everyone, people pick up on that. They may not know what they're picking up on. They may not feel the vibration of it, but there is a vibration and a frequency that moves them up a notch, and they can choose to stay there or not. But never forget how important just your presence can be. Thank you. Thank you, Jane. This fellowship is important to all of us. The contributions we make today allow us to sustain and grow our congregation and to reach out to the community, both nearby and at large. Your giving confirms your commitment to each other and to the community. And to everyone listening at home, you're welcome to hit the donate button on the website and you can donate that way. I didn't know you were there again. With grateful hearts, we receive these gifts. May they encourage us to live lives of integrity, compassion, and peace. We're grateful to all the people who make our Sunday services possible, all our various community activities, and presenting us to the outside world via the newsletter and YouTube. This includes all of us and everyone who cheers us on by being in these chairs today and even in their chairs at home. So now we have a few announcements. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to let you know how successful Chalice Circle has been. We've had 3 of the 4 meetings so far. They've been wonderful. We've gotten reports back about it's so good to be in a family unit. Jim's group is coming up this Friday night. Monday night. Thank you. And we have space available for those that forget to sign up. If you still would like to be in a group, Jim would love to have you there. Thank you.
Also, next Sunday, we are having a water ceremony. And this will be my first time with that, and I'm very excited because it sounds wonderful. But you bring some water with you, either maybe some special water you brought from somewhere or just from the kitchen tap is fine. But we will take turns putting all that water together to reflect on our diversity and unity in the congregation. I heard Alan Watts, I was listening to him this week, and I heard him talk about trying to cut water with a saw. And how ridiculous that was, and how we could not be divided, that we are that together, we are that connected, that to try to break us apart is the same as trying to cut water with a saw. So I thought about that when I saw the water ceremony. And next Sunday, right after services are over, there'll be a meeting for all the service assistants, please. And let's see, we have supper today.
We're gonna go to McAlister's and Cornelius.
Anyone that would like to have supper with us, McAlister's and Cornelius. We have a movie Tuesday afternoon at 12:15. It'll be at Burkdale, Downton Abbey, the grand finale. So please come and join us for that if you're willing and able. Our animal ministry, Heart of the Carolinas, we have a big build next Saturday, the 20th. We have two huge Great Pyrenees. They're only partial, but they're very large dogs, and they need a very large space to play in. So we're excited about doing that, and we hope that you'll join us. It's one of the most fun, rewarding things you will ever do, honestly. It's just great to be with the dogs, and the owners are very appreciative. Friday Action Hour, Reverend Pat's favorite project. That's Friday mornings at 11 via Zoom. Join in whenever you can. And then Marge talked about the chalice circles. I think that's it for announcements. Does anyone have anything they need to announce?
In a turnabout from the usual, way of doing things at Feed NC, we are all invited to be their guests for lunch on Wednesday, October 8th. We've been invited by the new development director for a tour and discussion of what all is going on at Feed NC, and to have lunch with them. And I think it'll be a fun opportunity. So if you've never been there and you're thinking the old Mooresville soup kitchen, you're not even close. It's a wonderful example of how to give people who are experiencing food insecurity a definite handout. Nothing that even is close to a mere handout. So everyone's invited to come along. And Pat Joe particularly invites you to let him know by sending a message to his personal email if you're interested or have any additional questions about it.
Thank you, Sarah. Our closing song is number 169. Great.
We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall live in peace someday.
Closing words from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The ultimate weakness of violence is that it is a descending spiral, getting the very thing it seeks to destroy. Instead of diminishing evil, it multiplies it. Through violence you may murder the liar, but you cannot murder the lie nor establish the truth. Through violence you murder the hater, but you do not murder hate. In fact, violence merely increases hate. Returning violence for violence multiplies violence, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that.
We close our service by extinguishing the light in the chalice and saying together the words in your order of service.
We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts till we meet again.
It was tough.